Hello Stampers! Thanks for joining me again at regalstamping.com for episode 6 of I Miss Your Face, an online card class. My name is Krista Thomas and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And I have been making these classes so that we all stay inspired and stamping during the COVID-19 isolation time. So, today I have already done one card. If you missed it, be sure and check out my other Bloom and Grow card. And I'm going to do another card now with Bloom and Grow. And it is this particular one right here that uses Seaside Spray, Night of Navy, and then some coloring where I added some red. I love those colors together. And as I was designing this, it was over the Memorial Day weekend, and it just felt almost patriotic. So, thanks for joining me for this, and we'll go ahead and get started. So, let me show you the products that I used. In addition to the Bloom and Grow, I used a Parisian Flourish embossing folder, which is on the retiring list, and I believe at the time I post this class, it will be gone. But you could use any embossing folder. I just happen to love this one. So I wanted to use it again. And then you'll also need the rectangle stitched dies for this blue piece here. And if you don't have these, you could just cut that piece to size. And I'll give you the measurements here in just a minute. And then this white strip here, I used the die cuts that are part of the Bloom and Grow, the Budding Blooms dies. Comes with these two scalloped edge dies, and I just ran this white piece through the Big Shot and ended up with this. So that's where that came from. And then I'm also using some of the Seaside Spray metallic ribbon and some silver thread to jazz things up. I also colored some of the little berry looking flowers with a wink of Stella. It's a very subtle shimmer, and I'm guessing you probably can't see that in the video. And then I will be coloring with Stampin' Blend markers, Real Red, light and dark, Cherry Cobbler, light, Seaside Spray, light and dark, Night of Navy, light and dark, and Shaded Spruce, light and dark for the leaves. You could, however, use whatever coloring medium that you like to use, colored pencils or whatnot. And then I finally added a few of the silver pearls, the silver metallic pearls, as just a subtle little accent. Okay. On the inside, we'll just kind of keep it simple, and I'll show you the finished one here in just a minute. So let me show you the pieces that you're going to need for this kit. You will need a card base of Seaside Spray that measures 5.5 by 8.5, and we'll be folding that in half. You will need for the inside a piece of Whisper White that is cut to 5.25 by 4, and that would be the inside panel. For the front, we will need a Night of Navy panel that measures 5.25 by 4, and this is the one that will go through the Parisian Flourish embossing folder. You will need a scrap of white. This one is roughly 4.25 inches by 2.25, or 2 3/4, sorry. And that is what we'll end up stamping. Oop, my stamps are stuck together. The floral image will go on that. Then you will need a piece of white that is 5.25 inches to begin with, and by 2 1/4, and then you use those two dies to cut off the ends. So the final size, I don't know where my ruler ended up, but it will be just roughly, let me see, what would that be? Right around 4 inches wide, I believe. So Start with a 5 1/4 by 2 1/4, and then you just trim off the ends. So, sorry I don't have my ruler here. I thought I had it right next to me, but it's always missing when I need it. Okay, and then finally the stitched rectangle is from Seaside Spray, and once it's cut, it measures 4 by 2 5/8. And so again, if you don't have the stitched rectangles, just cut a piece of cardstock to 4 inches by 2 5/8. 5/8 is one line past the 1/2 inch mark. Okay, so I like to start with my base. So I'll begin by folding this in half. And using a bone folder to crease it nicely. And then the next piece we'll need is the Night of Navy. So we want to go ahead and put that through the Parisian Flourish embossing folder. So I'm going to set this in here. And then I'll need to bring in my Big Shot. And I don't want my magnetic plate for that. It's a little bit too thick. So I bring in my standard base plate. I lay this on it, and then I bring in my blue plate. And we will continue to sell these blue plates in the new catalog. However, I don't believe they're going to be blue anymore. I wish they hadn't changed that because it makes it really easy to find. I could be wrong, but I think that's what I'm remembering. So, okay, so now we have that. And I want to now add this white piece right here. So that's my first step. I'm not gluing this to my card base yet because I do want to put ribbon. I'm just going to wrap this ribbon around and secure it on the back side. So let's go ahead and put this white piece down. And I'm just going to center it top to bottom and left to right as best. It's hard to tell when I can't get my head in the video. Okay, so about like that. Is that straight? Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to bring this ribbon in, and we need roughly 6 inches or so, just so that you can wrap it around the back side. This panel is 5 1/4 inches, so if you give yourself an inch or a 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to use some Scotch tape on the back. If you like using a tape runner, you could certainly put tape runner on the ribbon, but I like to keep my tape handy when I'm crafting. That works really well. Okay, so now I am ready to glue this down to the card base. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll just get that centered on there. Like that. Okay. Next up, we want to stamp a sentiment onto this piece here. And the floral spray is going to go down below it. So we'll go ahead and stamp using Night of Navy ink and Forever Starts Today. And I want that fairly close to the top, so that F is the tallest letter. I'm going to keep it right up there near the top edge, and everything else will be down lower. All right, and then this I'm going to just glue flat, and I want those white ends to be even in size. So this will just be like this. I want even portions hanging off all the way around, just like that. Let that sit. All right, I'm going to set that aside, and now we're going to get that scrap of Whisper White and the floral spray and a black ink pad. When you stamp with alcohol-based markers like Stampin' Up's Stampin' Blend markers, you want to use a water-based ink. That will prevent bleeding, and it seems odd, but it works. Okay, so now to color this floral spray in, I'm going to bring in my finished card, and I want you to notice the edges of the roses have white. So what I did was I started with Real Red Light, and I think I will use the brush side, and I started by just kind of drawing in and leaving a white edge at the top or outer section. So it's a little bit time consuming, but I loved the finished look. So I'm just kind of scooping it around. Whoops, I didn't leave quite enough on that one. And for some of these inner petals, I should probably use the smaller tip. So you see how I'm doing that? The outer edge of the petals, I am leaving some white showing, and it doesn't have to be the same amount on each petal. I'm just kind of rounding it as I go. And I think now I will switch here to the smaller tip. That. Okay, and I think this might be a petal here. I'm going to go ahead and call that a petal. All right, now I'm going to go in with Real Red Dark, and I'm just going to do what I usually do and deepen the inner section without going all the way out to the edge of the previous color. So I'm just going to start adding some depth, and I will need to switch to that smaller tip here in just a minute. So it's just a process, but I feel like if you like coloring, you won't mind the process, and the end result I think is just gorgeous. There's just nothing like these markers for coloring. Okay, let's go ahead and switch. Work on some of these. And if you don't feel like you need that white tip on the roses, you could certainly just color the whole thing in. And that would actually speed things up. But I felt like I wanted to do this and show you how I did it. And then the final color that we'll bring into the centers of these, or to deepen this red, is the medium cherry cobbler. I'm sorry, the light cherry cobbler. There isn't a medium. There used to be. We used to have sets of 3, and they've changed it to just 2. Okay, so now with the cherry cobbler, and you're going to see how much darker this is, at least I think you can. You can see how that just starts deepening those petals and creating more depth as you go. And finally over here. Okay. I think we got it. All right. Now the roses are done. And my next step will be with Seaside Spray, and I'm going to just color these little flowers that have 4 petals. Color those in with the light Seaside Spray. And these kind of heart-shaped ones, I think those are the same flowers. They're just in bloom or blossom point. They haven't fully opened, so I'm going to color those blue as well. Okay, I think I got them all. Oh, there's one. And then I'm going to come in with the Seaside Spray Dark. And I'm just going to kind of scribble in the centers or the bases, depending on which flower it is, just to add a little bit of contrast. You can see there's no real rhyme or reason here. You just kind of scribble it in. Okay, the berries, I really think we can get away with just the light, but I'll show you the difference. Perhaps you won't even be able to tell by adding just a touch of the dark one at the base of each berry. I'm excited about the new in color Stampin' Blend markers. I can't wait to order those. This will be on my first order when the new catalog goes live on June 3rd. Okay, I think I got them all. I do see one of those little flowers that I missed, so I'm going to come back in with my Seaside Spray. I'm not even going to worry about the dark one at this point. Okay, so now this is the dark Night of Navy, and I'm just going to dot, dot, dot across the bottom of some of these, and I'll bring that up closer. I don't know if you can even tell. So try it or not, but I've started it, so I'm going to go ahead and finish. And the smaller berries just require a quick little dot. They don't require as much. Okay. The final thing is the leaves, and I'm going to use shaded spruce. I will start with the light, and I'll use the big tip and just get these things colored in. One more. Just like that. Okay. And then I will come in with the dark shaded spruce and just do a little bit of shadowing on those to deepen up the base a little bit. And then we'll use the die to cut this out, and we'll add it to the card. All right. So let's go ahead and get this out of the way. I'm going to bring the Big Shot in again, and we'll be using the magnetic plate and 2 clear plates. All right, so this is going to go on here. And we'll put this on. And then tack it down with one of these Avery garage sale stickers that are removable. They work super great. All right, so now we have our flowers, and I'll show you where I added the wink of Stella. If you buy a wink of Stella, when you first get it, it comes with a black ring right here. You have to unscrew this and take the black ring off. Otherwise, it will never work. Because what that black ring does is keep the tip from puncturing into the glitter. So once you screw this back on without the black ring, then you need to carefully prime it. And by that, I mean simply squeezing the barrel, never over your project. Do it over your placemat until you start seeing the glitter down in here. Gentle squeezing. If you do it too fast, you're going to end up with a pool of glitter, and that is just wasting what's in your barrel. So gently squeeze until you start seeing it fill in, and then it'll come down into the tip. It takes a few minutes the very first time you open a new one, so be patient. Mine is almost out, so I don't really need to prime mine. And then what you do is just add some glitter wherever you want it. It's very subtle, but sometimes that is just the touch that you need. And all I'm going to do is the dark blue berries. I'm just adding a little bit of shimmer and shine to the berries, and you don't even have to really color carefully. Just kind of tap it where you want it, and it's very subtle, but it's there. All right, so now I'm going to bring in the card again, and this is going to go right here. I do want to pop it up, so I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back, and I'm just going to do 3 of them again like I did in the previous card. Again, if you missed it, go back and find it. It's another Bloom and Grow card. And I'm going to be putting this like this, but I do want some of that silver thread. So I'm going to take about 2 feet of silver thread, And I'm going to spread my fingers out like this and start wrapping. And you could do, more if you want to do 3 feet of thread or whatever. And then I just kind of grab it so it's looped, give it a twist, whoops, so that you kind of have a figure 8. And as you're laying it down, if it falls apart, that's okay. Squish it and stick it to those dots. And then your ends are going to be hanging free, so grab those and tuck the ends under. And then look at it from the front and see if that works for you. If you don't like it, peel it all off and start again. It's not a perfect science. And I know it really bugs some people that it's not perfect. So I might be one of those, I'm not sure. Okay, how does that look? I think I want this one to come up a little more this way. So you just kind of have to use those pop dots on the back to make those thread pieces stay and go in the direction that you want. And then go ahead and pop that onto the base. And there you go. Finally, we need some silver pearls. These are metallic pearls, and they come in a package with silver and gold. And I'm going to pop 3 of them on. I always like to do an odd number. Usually that number is 3. Sometimes it's as many as 5. And there we go. That's the finished card. Now for the inside, we'll do some flowers. I'm going to leave the sentiment blank, so no sentiment on the inside. I can add that when I'm ready to use the card. And what I'm going to do is just come in with some of the greenery, maybe part of a rose. I'll just go like that. And if you wanted, you could come up here and do some more. I think I will. I'm going to use the other end of the stamp so that the spray looks a little bit different. And then I would come in and color those with the same colors that I did on the front. Or if you don't particularly love coloring or you run out of time, you could just leave it black on white. Add your sentiment and you're done. So for now, that's what I'm going to do because you've already seen me color the front. I won't take up any more of your precious time, but this would get glued onto the inside and then your card would be finished. So there you go. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you'll try making one of these cards. If you want kits, check my blog post for, I think it's June 3rd. Is that June 2nd or 3rd is when I'll be posting this class. I don't have a calendar in front of me right now, but check that blog post for kit details, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me.